Empathy is the skill of being able to focus on the other person and understand how they are feeling. And I have found that my life, particularly my social life, has become way better since I began cultivating this skill. One incident completely changed my social life. On my 17th birthday, a few of my friends gathered together and surprised me with a small party and few gifts. I didn't see that coming. It was very wholesome and it meant a lot to me. So the next time I met them, of course, I didn't try to show off my superiority in any way. I wanted to make them feel good. I didn't want to make them regret giving me a party. So instead of doing all the talking and talking about myself, I started asking questions and listening attentively. Instead of boasting about myself, I started giving genuine praises. Instead of focusing on myself and how I was feeling, I started trying to focus on the other person and make this a more pleasant experience for them. And what I observed was, I myself was enjoying these interactions where I was focusing on the other person more than the interactions that I had up to that point, where I was always obsessing about how I was feeling and whether I was feeling good. This is because of two reasons. One, self consciousness, particularly self conscious thoughts, are tightly associated with the experience of misery. Hence, whenever we are focusing on the other person, it automatically means we are not focusing on ourselves and we are alleviating ourselves of this self imposed misery. Secondly, if you are empathizing with others, then they would be encouraged to follow your behavior. If you are listening to them attentively, then whenever you speak up, others would be happy to listen to you. If you are focusing on the feelings of others and if you are trying to give them a more pleasant experience, then they would love to return the same favor. They would love to make that experience more memorable for you as well. So, whatever thing you're doing would be more fun, joyful, and memorable for everyone involved because everyone would be trying to make it more fun and memorable for everyone else. I still do slip into my old ways from time to time, but I am aware now that the correct way to approach any social interaction is by focusing on the other person rather than on yourself. So, for cultivating and practicing empathy, here are some tips for you and reminders to myself. The first tip for practicing and cultivating empathy is to listen more. Listening is a really charming quality. You might think that charm is all about what you say, about praising the other person and playing with them, teasing them, and so on. Yeah, those are all cool, but listening is very underrated compared to them, and perhaps somewhat the most powerful when it comes to making the other person like us. But just asking us to listen more and talk less is useless advice if we prefer our own monologue to listening to others. So we need an attitude switch. Think about it this way: we are to ourselves very predictable to an extent, of course. We know ourselves already. Our brain just keeps replaying the same old thought patterns and fantasies over and over and over again. Others, on the other hand, are like an unexplored country. They're the gray area on the map in a video game. Everyone always wants to explore those and remove all the gray areas, right? Yeah, those are other people. They bring with them a world of possibility. Every person is completely unique, and there will never be another person like them in the entire span of the universe ever again. That might make it sound more interesting and make you more curious to get to know the other person. And listening and asking questions is the best way to get to know another person. You'll be surprised at how much a person is willing to tell you if you are willing to listen. Also, an indication that you are not listening well enough is that you are getting bored. If you are listening well enough, you'll be surprised at how interesting every person can be. Also, asking questions and listening is one of the most powerful tools we have for bonding and connecting with the people we already know. Asking the right question can help a lot with this. Instead of asking how an event went, you could ask how an event made you feel. This second question is much more powerful for connecting to people rather than simply asking how the weather is. You could ask how the latest dance performance or how your latest success or failure made you feel. And listening is a really powerful tool for growth as well. If you talk with respect to the other person's interests and area of expertise, you will come to gain a lot of knowledge in a wide range of topics. Every person is superior to us in some way or another. To the bodybuilders at my gym, I would ask them questions about their workout split or the exercises they do. To my friend who is really into philosophy, I would talk about philosophy. To my friend who is really into filmmaking, I would talk about that. And if you talk with respect to the other person's interests and listen carefully, you will gain a lot of knowledge in a wide range of topics. While in a social interaction, knowing how the other person is feeling can give us great insights into the likes and dislikes of the other person. And if we know what their mood is, we can readjust our strategy in order to make them feel better. For example, if we know a person is feeling bad, we want to do something to make them feel better, right? But people most often don't want to show their emotions too openly. Hence, we need to find other ways to understand how they are feeling. But God has already gifted us with this ability. All of us can subconsciously understand how the other person is feeling without any effort. It's like a sixth sense we have. If we focus carefully, we can almost always correctly guess how the other person is feeling, particularly the bad emotions. Good feelings are a bit harder to catch, but you can almost always feel a sensation in our gut if the other person is feeling bad, particularly if they're feeling bad because of something you said or did. We should learn to pay attention to this sixth sense, this subconscious understanding of how the other person is feeling without any effort, because it's most of the time correct in its guess. If you are still feeling confused on how the other person is feeling, then we need to use analytical empathy. Analytical empathy is using logic to figure out how the other person is feeling. This can't be used for people we just met, but for the people we already know. If we know their likes, dislikes, and a decent amount of their past, then we can use that as a lens to investigate how some events made them feel. Implementing these three tips and other social skills that I talk about in this channel and others talk about generally, all of them are quite hard to implement, right? We constantly need to assess the situation and remember, oh, rule number 26 goes here, rule number 17 goes there. It's kind of bumpy and irritating to always try to remember this and reevaluate how we are doing every second. All of this can come much more naturally to us if we just switch the attitude with which we enter any conversation. Whenever we go into any social interaction or conversation, we should change our goal from trying to make ourselves look good or just to have fun to making the other person look good and letting them have fun, knowing that this will result in us having more fun and us looking more good anyway. Also, whenever we go into any conversation with this goal, others will start emulating us. Others will try to make us look good, and that will be much more effective in making us look good instead of we doing it ourselves. And others would also be involved in the process of making the experience more fun and memorable. And hence, it's just more fun, memorable for everyone, and even we get a profit in status if that means anything to you. Yeah, those are the four tips that I want to give you regarding practicing and cultivating empathy. If you found the video helpful, then consider liking it because that will help get this to more people. And if you want to see more content like this, then hit the subscribe button. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts about this video and the topic empathy down in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.